Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining in, Man Up with Mark T, the voice of victory on dadsandfathers.tv. Thank you once again for joining in with me today for another show. I'm very excited about this show. Got a good friend of mine. I just want to let y'all know I'm really cheap when I bring people on the show because these people are friends of mine that I've been knowing, and I'm just glad that I know everyday people that are doing extraordinary things. The thing about extraordinary is the extra, and that's what I like about the people that I bring on the show. They're ordinary people that they're doing just a little extra in their life to make their lives work. Last week I consistently used this phrase and I was messing it up. I was talking about the acorn and the oak tree, and I was always putting the acorn before the oak tree in the saying. But the saying is, the oak tree was once an acorn, and people kicked the acorn around, but then the acorn was planted, it grew into a mighty oak tree. The thing about that saying is, we're talking about process. A lot of people don't want to go through the process. When I bring people on in this life and to talk about their lives, when I bring people on the show to talk about their lives, we're all talking about the process. Everybody starts somewhere and everybody goes through a process to become the person that they are. So that's why I'm excited to be able to do this show. I'm excited to bring people on that y'all can see just how their life progressed. Them starting from just really humble beginnings and making their way into people that they enjoy being. So sit back, relax, tune in, get ready for another great show. Man Up with Mark T on Dads and Fathers TV, the voice of victory. We'll be back.
Have you ever had a question related to child support, divorce, CPS? Call the Attorney General or maybe an attorney and they just gave you a runaround? Where do you go to get help? Contact Dads Fathers of Texas. Yes, they are child support specialists. Dads Fathers of Texas can answer your question, help file paperwork, and help find a family law attorney. Dads Fathers of Texas, making child support simple.
Welcome back to this edition of Man Up with Mark T, the voice of victory. I got my man in the studio with me, a good friend of mine, Pedro Foreman. Pedro, what's up, brother?
What's going on, T?
Hey, man, I'm just glad to have you on to the show, man. Another installment of Man Up with Mark T. And what I do is I bring people from the community to come in and tell their story, and hopefully their story will inspire, inform, and uplift our listeners. All of them, one of them, or somebody, and I always like to bring people on that I feel that have a very interesting story. And the one thing that I like about you, like I say, we've been friends for, I guess, man, probably about 14 years now.
Right.
And just want to tell your story because the thing that I'm impressed with you is how you began and where you are now and where I met you and how I saw what became of you. And my thing with you is, we met one day when I was washing my truck at the car wash, and you walked around and you said, "Hey man, you remember me?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess." And you gave me a card and you was like, "Man, I cut hair. If you need a good haircut, come up to the shop."
Right.
And I was like, "Okay, well, what time do you open?" And you said, "Man, I'm up there at 7 o'clock every morning."
Right.
And I was like, "Yeah, right. Okay, all right, I'll give you some business."
Right.
Well, I came up there about 7:30 and you was already up. Clip was warmed up, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that was something that always impressed me about you is you get up early and go to work.
Right.
And as you can continue to cut my hair, you were consistent because I was trying to get my hair cut before I went out on my daily venture trying to get it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But you were always there on time, and you said to me one day, you said, "Hey man, eventually I'm gonna own my own shop." And I was like, "Okay, all right, I hear you." Then about maybe a year later, 2 years later, you were telling me, "Hey man, I'm opening up my shop. I'll be over here, this and that." Next thing I know, we in the place, and you go from paying booth rent to owning the whole spot.
Right.
And I was real impressed with that, man, because so many people think they can cut hair. You're a barber and you own Styles and Profile.
Right.
And and I'm a victim of that. I thought I could cut my own hair too, till I cut it and them guards fell off and I cut a plug in my head.
Yourself,
and I had to cut all my hair off. So I realized I needed a good barber. So thank you for stepping in and saving me. But I like to bring people from the neighborhood, but you work in the neighborhood, but you're actually from Arkansas.
Correct.
Right. So tell us where you're from and where you grew up and everything.
I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas. Man, it's been a long time since I've been in Dallas. I left Little Rock in probably about 95, 94, 95. moving to Dallas to actually better myself, to get away from Arkansas, get away from all the trouble it was there. I guess I felt that I outgrown being in Little Rock because everything it is to do there, I've been there and done that.
Okay.
So I just wanted to better myself. It was two things I wanted out of life. I wanted to be successful and I wanted to be happy. And I wasn't there being in Little Rock. So my brother decided to invite me to stay with him, help me get situated and eventually move me to stay with him. So I knew I had to move there to get a job, get situated, figure out where I wanted to be in life. I went to cosmetology school twice. Actually, I started in the 8th grade doing women's hair, but it got too time consuming, so I decided I would go to cut hair. So I finished up barber school in Dallas, and once I figured out, okay, which part of town I would be working in, then I just did all my homework research for all the other salons or barbershops that's in the area to figure out what they were offering and their business hours. I've always been different and a special kind of guy from growing up because I was in so much trouble doing different stuff. I just always stuck out like a sore thumb. So it was my thing and my passion to get on track and to be happy and be successful. So once I started cutting hair, a lot of the guys wasn't coming to work. I was getting a lot of their clientele. So they used to always tell me, the business is here, you just have to be here. So I decided, okay, well, those guys don't come to work till 10 or 11 o'clock. That's what made me come early. My mom and my grandmother used to always tell me, and my stepfather used to always tell me, wake up, take care of your business first. You got the rest of the day. If you want to sleep, mess off, do whatever. Then at the time, my only chores was cleaning up the house, fixing my bed. And I'd go outside, ride my scooter, play, do whatever else I wanted to do. But as I became an adult, my goal was to get up, make sure the kids were situated for school, eat breakfast with them every morning, talk to them, make sure they off, then I go ahead and go to work. That's when I started just being there early.
And when you talk about Little Rock, when you say, getting in trouble, Little Rock has started to get a little buck wild, because, I mean, when you hear about Little Rock, because I'm a few years older than you, and I remember when kids would go to school at University of Arkansas, Pine Bluff.
Yeah, UAPB.
Yeah, and and I guess that's close to Little Rock, or
45 minutes from Little Rock.
Yeah, and all of a sudden I started hearing documentaries about, like everything just being bad in Little Rock. I mean, not everything, but it was a lot of gang banging, a lot of crime and stuff like that. So you were growing up during that era when Little Rock was getting that bad image, when it was, because I went down there for a basketball game and I was like, man, Little Rock is cool, but I went out at night.
Then you was just there probably 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, we were there for a weekend. Yeah. And that's why when I remember texting you and saying, man, I'm here, and you was like, well, look for this. Well, you over by that. And I was like, yeah, this your hometown. But when you say you outgrew it, it was just time for you to get out and just venture out because you wanted to start a business. Why come you couldn't start a business in Little Rock? It was just time for you to get a new surrounding, get a new environment, just an opportunity for you to grow.
Basically, it was time for me to reinvent myself, and I couldn't do it in Little Rock. Plus, I wanted a different environment, surround myself with positive and successful people, first off. And I didn't have that in Little Rock. Outside of my mom, family, they were there. But as far as the business side, I had to just branch out to just do something totally different. But yeah, Little Rock was a lot of trouble, man. I've been shot twice there. I've been beat up by the police, been beat up by somebody else. So, like I said, I had been there and done that. So I had kids. And my whole thing was I wanted to survive to take care of them. I didn't want them to come up the same way that I did, with my dad not there. So I just figured the best thing for me to do, man, listen to my mom, buckle down, take care of my business, get away, reinvent myself. So once I finally did get away to get situated, I knew I always had the talent to cut hair. I was into cutting hair and into clothes. And when I meet somebody, that's the first thing I would always look at. Whether I ended up cutting their hair or not, I would always notice their haircut because that was my passion. So basically my passion turned into my purpose because that's what I like to do. So working my job really now, I don't look at it as work because I like to do it.
Right.
Yeah, so I could cut hair with my eyes closed. I've met a lot of different people cutting hair. I've cut different celebrities. I done traveled across the United States cutting different celebrities, being at different concerts, being at different comedy shows, TV sets, movie sets, just different things. And I didn't have that in Little Rock. I didn't have the exposure and the people pulling me in the right direction to get to where I wanted to be. So, man, Little Rock, it was just time for me to get away. No room for growth, really. And I just didn't see a way out of it until my brother said, hey man, whatever you're doing there, you can do the same thing here, but on a bigger scale, and you can turn it into a legal living.
Right. And you know, one thing you said was you listen to your parents. You listen to your mom and your grandmother.
Right.
I mean, and that's where a lot of us fall short. We think we know, and we're not willing to listen. And the Bible says your talent will make way for you and bring you into the presence of great men. Once you realize that you have a talent, you can either invest in that time that it takes to bring your talent forward, or you can waste that time.
Right.
You know, everybody can sit at home with some clippers and say, come on over here, man, and you know, I'll cut your hair. They doing it illegally because they don't want to take the time to invest in their talent. And then when you thought, you know, thinking is such a vital part to being successful. You say, you know what, the people that I'm around, they're not helping me to be successful. There are always clues to success, but you got to look for people that are having success in the same area that you want to have success. If nobody is being a successful barber, how can they tell you how to be successful? If nobody is saying, hey man, if you go from here or go from there, you can be successful, like your brother called you and said, hey man, if you're doing it there, you can do it here on a larger scale. You had to have faith in yourself. And say, you know what, I can make it in Dallas. A lot of people say, man, it ain't nothing in Dallas for me. I can stay here and I can do, and they're afraid to step out and branch out. So that's a bold move, man. And I'm proud that you're being transparent and telling us that, you know, that in Little Rock, it just wasn't where you need to be. You had outgrown Little Rock, but you had to take that step and say, you know what, I have faith in myself, because so many people, man, don't believe in themselves. So many people don't sit back and say, I can do this. And that's what faith is, believing in yourself. That's what self-esteem is, believing in yourself and saying, you know what, I've outgrown this, it's time for me to do something else. You know, so when you say your passion became your purpose, a lot of people don't even look at, this is what I like to do, but it's not that I just like to do it. This is what I enjoy doing. So this is what I can do for people, and then it can bring me an additional joy, because you also said you wanted to be happy. You wanted to be successful and you wanted to be happy. So discovering your talent turned into a passion, and it gave you what it was that you were looking for.
Right.
You know. So this is my man Pedro Foreman. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back and we're going to get deeper in this story. Because like you said, he done been all over the place, and you'll be surprised at the people's hair that he cuts and the people's lives that he's influenced just by cutting somebody's hair, because he turned his passion into his purpose. And now he don't even go to work because he like what he do, but he get paid for what he like to do. We'll be back. You know, Man Up with Mark T, the voice of victory.
Men, business owners. If you're anything like my clients, you hand a bag of receipts to your accountant at the end of the year and expect them to do your taxes. Stop. It's costing you more in IRS taxes. McDaniel Consulting adds all of your year-end receipts. Categorize them in a way that your accountant appreciates. The better it's categorized, the more write-offs you get. We categorize all your business expenses, travel, employees, donations, rental property expenses, child support expenses, medical payments, security pet expenses. Compute your mileage. We issue W-2s and 1099s to your employees and contractors, as well as gather W-4s and W-9s. You give us this, McDaniel Consulting gives you back a professional report that your CPA can use. Call today, 214-349-6564, 214-349-6564. Your accountant does your business taxes. We do the preparation. McDaniel Consulting, 214-349-6564.
Walking into a fantastic clean office. Or coming home to a fantastic clean home. Hi, my name is LaMonica, CEO and founder of Fantastic Four Cleaning Services, providing fantastic services for you because that's what we aim to do. Give me a call at the office at 469-730-3054.
All right, you're back with Man Up with Mark T, the voice of victory on dadsandfathers.tv. Thank y'all for joining back in. I got my man Pedro Foreman here, and we're just telling his story. Pedro is telling us about how he turned his passion into his purpose by cutting hair. And he made mention to all of the places that he's been just by cutting hair. So what I want you to do, you from Arkansas, the great state of Arkansas, city of Little Rock. So we glad to have you in the great state of Texas, you know, city of Dallas, doing your thing. But tell us some of the people's, some of the celebrities' hair that you cut.
First off, I started out doing Gary with the T. Gary with the T is on 97.9. He's known worldwide. He's been on like several different TV shows and radio stations. So with Gary, actually Gary was my neighbor. And that's how I got to doing Gary. He was taking the trash out one day and had some shorts on. I said his legs looked like snakeskin because they were so white and ashy. So we started laughing, and you know, man, just one thing led to another. I started edging up Gary. Gary used to work for like Russ Parr, Tom Joyner, people like that, Steve Harvey. But once Steve Harvey was leaving Dallas, he was I guess you could say passing the show on to Ricky Smiley. They was trying to figure out who they could give the morning show to next.
Right.
So Steve gave Ricky the job, and then Gary was already in the circle. So once me were cutting Gary's hair, at the time Ricky had dreads. Ricky wanted me to edge him up. Gary laced me down, sat me down, and said, "Hey, you want to cut celebrities? You need to be punctual. You need to be on time. You need to make sure you dress right." He said, just go in there, greet them, ask them what they want, and just leave it at that. And it was I wanted to cut celebrities, but it was my first time doing it. I was just so nervous of doing it.
Right.
So,
because Ricky was on the rise. He was coming
Rick
into
was
his
on
own.
The rise, right. So I just started cutting Ricky. You know, backstage I would travel with him doing different stuff, and just say whatever city we were in, you know, somebody would come backstage, see Rick and say, "Man, you got your barber with you?" And he'll tell him, "Yeah, you're doing a good job." And they say, "Well, if he's traveling with you, he has to be good." So I just passed out cards. At first wasn't nobody calling. Then eventually, you know, you deal with, you know, Anthony Anderson, Timberland, the producer Timberland, his manager, Big Rick. I did Justin Timberlake's crew when they was here in Dallas at the American Airlines Center. Man, I've been doing it for so long. I did a lot of people. Tyson Chandler, Kirk Thomas, basketball players, comedians. Man, I've just been doing it for about 10 years to where I had elite clientele, as I would say.
And let me kind of interject something, because you're a black dude, and you know, so people may assume that you only cut black people's hair.
Right.
So I would think that Justin Timberlake had some white people in his crew, and you cut their hair, or you just strictly African American, or you cut everybody's hair that needs to be cut.
I cut across the board.
Okay, I'm just asking.
I cut black, green, white, purple, I cut everything.
As long as they
but
got
grass.
hair. Huh?
Yeah, everything but grass and trees, I can cut it.
Right. And people, I mean, a lot of people know you, but a lot of people don't know you. You know, and you have a unique sense of humor. I put it like that.
Okay.
So when you say Gary came out and, it looked like he had on some snakeskin socks or whatever.
Yeah, stockings.
Y'all were basically talking about each other, which led to your friendship.
Right.
But one thing about that is, just like when you walked up to me and you said something to him, one thing about business is having a conversation. You have to be able to engage people, and that's one thing that I like about you is you have a unique way of engaging people, and then that leads to certain things. That's how you ended up with Ricky. Ricky was also not only just a radio celebrity, but he started being in movies too. All of a sudden he was in the Fridays franchise, so you had a chance to go on the set of Fridays, and then cut Mike Epps and Ice Cube. You had a chance to meet them and cut their hair also. So where you said you wanted to, it was a desire turned into a reality.
Right.
Is basically what I'm saying.
Right.
So I know people want to ask you, man, how is it, and what, what I'm saying? So how do you respond when people see pictures of you with Ice Cube, with Pimp C, with Anthony Anderson, with Ricky, what's my man Steve Harvey? I mean, what do people think about you?
The ones from back in the day, proud of me. And it was a handful of them knew exactly what I wanted to do. So I get a lot of support from them. Other people that's just getting to know me, of course, they have questions like, how did I get in? Some people even get bold and ask how much they pay me.
Right, yeah.
But, I just get a load of questions. Like, how did I get in to meet them? How often do I do it? Can I bring somebody else in? And it's really not a situation like that. My hands are my hands, and they paying for me to come there, not to bring help with me. They want me to do the job. So, I'm just good. I'm blessed at what I do, really. It's one thing to want to cut hair, and it's another thing to have a talent and be blessed to cut hair. And I have the talent to do it. Because no matter what kind of haircut I do, it's always good.
And one thing about it is, like, you're telling the story of the finished product. When you talk about being on the movie sets, being on the radio show, cutting celebrities' hair, but people don't understand the process. Like we talked earlier, you asked me to come to the shop in Cedar Hill when you were just cutting hair, and the next thing you know, you had this vision that, when I'm gonna own my own shop. Did that come from you as a little boy saying that I want to own my own barbershop, or was it just you cutting hair and saying, man, it's more to me than this? How did it come about with you saying, I'm gonna own my own shop? Because you got one of the most popular barber and beauty salons in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So how did all that come about, the process?
It was basically both things played a part in it. When I was young, I wanted to own my own business, and as I got older, just actually practicing cutting hair, then I figured out I wanted to do it. My thing was, I had a lot of jobs, and I would always get fired for being late, not coming back on time, sleeping on the job, anything. They telling me, giving me orders. I really wasn't good at taking orders. My thing was, I needed to be in a position to give out orders. I like to be in charge, and the only way for me to do that was to create a business or create an atmosphere to where I was in charge, to where I can do what I wanted to do. Of course, once I was a kid and I started cutting hair, you always want that, but as a kid, you don't know the struggle and what you have to get a business started and to run a business and to have the continuous business coming in. It's easy to go sign a lease and to get in, but the key to business, what I've noticed, is the repeat business. You want to stay in longevity. Like I just said, anybody could get in and do it 30 or 40 days, but you want your customers to keep coming back. But a salon that I was working in, man, like I said before, the guys really weren't coming to work as much. And I was hungry because I was just moving to that side of town. So I was in there cutting, man, from sun up to sundown. My kids weren't staying with me at the time. So it was like I was just solo, just working, going home. I had to have very good discipline. I was making good money, but I had to go home and just buckle down and stay focused on the end result or the end goal, what I wanted to do. So, I mean, you had to have discipline, you got to have dedication, and basically you just have to hibernate and get your mind frame and your heart together on what you're trying to do.
Right.
Set your goals and just, go by your goals step by step. Have faith and just go for it.
Yeah, build that foundation.
Right.
And just build that foundation just step by step by step.
Right.
Because everybody want to jump into I got my own business. Okay, you might have a building, but you don't have people walking through the door.
Correct.
You got to pass out cards, you got to engage people, you got to talk to people, you got to make that business. Then you have to be good enough for people to come back and for people to say, yeah, my barber is over there, I'll send you to my barber or go see my barber. So it's a lot more to it than just, I got a business, here's my building, come and see me. Because a lot of people might come once, might not come. Mm-hmm. Some people may continuously come, some people may come once. You can't guarantee the business. But the only thing you can guarantee is that you gonna be there.
Right. No doubt.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I liked about you is I could always count on you being there. Mm-hmm. If I come on Tuesday at 7:30, you there. If I come Friday at 7:30, you there. And I remember one time you were talking, I had already been to the shop, and some guys were just now getting there at 11. By the time they're getting there at 11, you pretty much done for the day. Yeah. You sitting back, you done made your grill.
The early bird gets the worm.
Always. You can do more while everybody's sleeping than you can with everybody because there's less competition. Mm-hmm. If you get up early, then you out doing it and people say, man, why are you up so early? Mm-hmm. Well, it's a lot of people that are up early that want to get their hair cut early and get that on out the way and move on. They don't want to be sitting in the barbershop. But that's the business of barbering. People don't apply the same concepts as they would, say, running a trucking company or a dentist office or a law firm or whatever. They just look at it like, oh, well, I cut hair. They don't understand the business aspect to it. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot that goes into that. And that's, like I said, that's one thing I liked about you because you told me it was going to happen. Mm-hmm. A lot of people say it's going to happen. And they always have that excuse. Well, man, it didn't work out. They wanted too much for that spot, and I couldn't get my permits, and I couldn't get the floor done and all of that. Because when I came into your first shop, because this is the second shop that you've had, right. It was together. Mm-hmm. I was like, man, who put your stuff together? And you was like, you did. Mm-hmm. So when you say you went home and did your homework, you were designing your plans for your office. You were talking about you gonna have these type of floors, and you going to Home Depot picking out lights and sinks and whatnot.
All of that, toilets, shampoo bowls, all of that.
Yeah. So a lot of people think it's just about coming in there and cutting hair, but it's a lot to that.
Mm-hmm. Man, if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times I got discouraged because of the headaches and the issues that I was having because I was doing brand new construction. Mm-hmm. And with dealing with the construction companies and coming up with money, when they give you a bill, it's not $10 to $15. It's thousands of dollars that you're having to pay. But like I said, it's faith. I knew I was a good barber, and I knew what I wanted to do, and I said, if this don't kill me, it ain't gonna do nothing but make me stronger.
Right, but you gonna get it.
And I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, because it's easy to get discouraged and it's easy to quit. And that's why a lot of people don't succeed in what it is that they're trying to succeed with, because when the going gets tough, the tough gotta get going.
Right.
And like a lot of people say, man, it was just too hard. It wasn't. And like you say, and it's funny when you say you weren't a good employee.
Yeah.
Because when you get fired, bro, for not coming back, you probably don't need to work for nobody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But you identify with the fact that, man, I got to own my own business. Right. Because a lot of times when people go to school, they go to school to look for work. But you should go to school so that you can run the business. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't go to school to just work for somebody. Mm-hmm. So, that's good, man. That's a good story. And I, like I say, I appreciate your transparency, with saying that, you just weren't a good employee.
No, I wasn't.
Because you got to be honest honest with yourself.
Right.
You know, you have to be like, I don't need nobody telling me what to do. I just ain't good at it. You know, when you can't take it. But man, like I say, I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of the man that I've seen you grown to be. You know, but you know, I am a little disappointed. You know, because you named all them celebrities who hair you cut, and you left Mark T out. But we gonna come back in a minute, and we gonna finish up. This is my man Pedro Foreman. You listen to Man Up with Mark T on Dads and Fathers .tv. We'll be back.
No gimmicks, no fake, stupid conversations. Just real talk and real help from a real lawyer. If you've been injured in a car accident, I'm sure you're worried about transportation, medical bills, lost wages, and getting real compensation for your pain and suffering. I'm attorney Roderick White, and if you want real answers to your car wreck questions and real help with your car wreck problems, call me at 214 or 817, I got you.
Welcome back to Man Up with Mark T, the voice of victory. I'm here with my man Pedro Foreman, Styles and Profiles, one of the top barbers and entrepreneurs in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Hey man, like I say, appreciate you taking out your time or your busy day to come in and be on set with me today. And two things. Number one, you're one of the best dressed barbers in the Metroplex, you know, but more than anything, man, you're one of the best dads that I've been fortunate to be around, you know, and you let your son come to my camp, and I seen him from a little shorty to growing up, and they ain't taller than me, you know, and saw your girls, man, and you know, I met your wife, and you and your wife are actually in business together, you know, which is tremendous, you know, but just tell me about fatherhood with you, man.
Fatherhood is the best thing that has happened to me, man, because you get to see your kids growing up. You know, you get to experience all the things with dealing with their lives and the situations and everything that they have to go through. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like you reliving yourself in your kids. Mm-hmm. But I love it. I love, my uncle used to always teach me on Sunday, you take care of your business, man. You iron all your clothes for the week. That way when you get home from school, all you gotta do is eat your snack, do your homework, chill, you got your stuff ready for the week.
You on top of it.
I'm on top of it. So I started doing that with my kids. I would get their stuff situated for the week, make sure they got lunch, you know, food, everything, whether they were gonna eat lunch at school or whether they were gonna take lunch from the house. But I really enjoyed my kids living with me and me being a hands-on dad. Of course it's been good, of course it's been a lot of bad times, but there's no handbook to being a parent. Sometimes we're gonna make a good decision, sometimes we're gonna make a bad decision, but it's all about trial and error and communicating with your kids, you know, so you both can be on the same page.
Right.
Girls are really expensive. It's always something with girls. I mean, no matter what you give them, you can give them $5,000 or you can give them $5. It's gonna be always something with girls, and I love them all.
Yeah.
But the girls, there's more that come along with girls. Mm-hmm. My son, man, he's 20 now. He just has a laid-back spirit, you know, in college, working. He's a supervisor at his job. I laugh because we sitting eating dinner, and I don't like to have the iPad, cell phones, and all that stuff at dinner time. It's our time to sit down, talk, you know, have our little family time that evening. But his phone was going off, and he had to get up and take care of some business, had to do with his job. And I'm like, what are you doing? I can't believe you are actually a boss or a supervisor and giving somebody orders.
Yeah.
But it was a good feeling because, you know, you see him go from this point and then just grow up, you know, trying to be a man. And they pull you to the side, each one will pull you to the side and talk to you, you know, have different conversations with you about whatever they're going through. But man, I love it. I love being there for my kids. My stepdad was there, but my real biological father, man, he just missed out on a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't beat myself up about that or beat him up about that. But I had, you know, other guys in my life, other people that I could look up to. My mom did an outstanding job. My grandmother helped me, you know, until she passed. I have a favorite uncle, Ray, the one that you met. So, man, I had a lot of role models or people that I looked up to and then respected to talk to about, you know, advice for my kids, because I was super young when I started having kids.
Yeah, and see, and that's the thing. You really realize. You really realize what you believe in when you start to raise your kids. Because when you raising your kids, you want the best for them, and you tell them about the mistakes that you made and what you don't want to do, and you got to be open and honest with them, even if it's brutally honest, or even if you're trying to shield them from something. You still have to be honest with them, and it's something, man, when you get an opportunity to raise your kids, because that's flesh of your flesh, blood of your blood, you know, bone of your bone. So you really want to do the best that you can do, and to have the opportunity to raise your kids it's just extraordinary. And you were raised without your father, I was raised without my father, and so many men are raised without their fathers, but you can't use that as an excuse. If he ain't there, he ain't coming. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't got no plans on being there.
He ain't never coming. So you can't sit back and be mad at the world and not say that I'm gonna be successful in spite of.
Right.
Because God still put people around you, you know, that will lead you and guide you if you're smart enough to listen. You know, I mean, say I'm adopted into your family by me just saying I'm adopted into your family, but I met your uncle, I met your brother, and I met your mom. You know, and
That's
if you
family.
see, and if you know, if you see your mom, she don't look like she your mom. She look like she your sister or something. Because the last time I saw her, I was scared to say, "Hey man, it's your mom," because she had changed her look.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Mama, you know," like, "Yeah, okay," you know. So, but man, you got an outstanding family. You didn't just have a baby, but you got a younger baby, baby. How old is your younger baby?
3.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
she's 3 now.
And how many girls do you have?
3 girls.
3 girls.
3 girls and 1 boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you the king of the castle.
I'm the king of the castle.
But the girls run the castle.
Yeah, the girls have me wrapped around their finger. I do all that talking. No, I ain't gonna do this, I ain't gonna do that. But as soon as we get off the phone, I'm trying to figure out how to make it happen for them.
Yeah, and as long as I've known you, man, you've always talked about your kids. You've always been on the go doing for your kids, even though you've been putting in major work to make your business successful.
Right.
You know, like I say, and your wife Monique, man, I had an opportunity to meet her a long time ago, and I'm very impressed with the relationship that you all have. With you all, her running the beauty salon aspect of it, and you running the barber and everything, that y'all come together as a business, because that's something that we need. We need to be able to build generational wealth, family wealth. We can't be running around here as men and having a vision and having somebody to help us, and then we want to leave them out and have everything for us. We got to be able to let our passions and our future and our endeavors and everything that we enjoy, we got to have our family involved in that. If we plan in the future, our family should be a part of that future. If we got a passion, our family should be able to see that passion and say, that's what my dad does and that's what he does well. I see your kids coming up to the shop all the time when they're out of school, on Christmas, on holidays, coming in, hugging you, your other family members coming in, and you know, hey, that's Uncle P and stuff like that, man. So, you know, sometimes God puts us in a position to be kings in our family. We just got to accept that position. And we got to really be thankful of God that he gave it to us.
Right.
Because we could be in so many different places, and we can be doing so many different things. We could be doing the wrong things where nobody wants to come see us. Nobody is speaking proudly of us. Nobody is saying anything. So to have that opportunity, man, is just a great time in our lives that we should appreciate and thank God for. So like I say, I'm glad to see you doing what you do. And I think I met you in 2002?
Yeah, it's about 01, 02.
Yeah, and I mean, man, it's 2016, bro. You know, and I've seen you go from booth rent to owning the whole place, you know. So tell people where your shop is located, how they can get in touch with you.
I'm at 67 in Pleasant Run in Cedar Hill. I'm on Facebook at Pedro Foreman, and I'm on Instagram, Pedro the Barber. You can just reach me that way, and I'll get back in touch with you.
Yeah, and they shouldn't be surprised if they see you rolling around the shop on the hovercraft, because you do that every now and then. Yeah, I saw you one day out in the parking lot. I said, boy, you got all the gadgets. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But when you work hard, you can do that.
Play hard.
You can
work
do that.
Hard,
yeah.
Play hard.
Yeah. So but man, like I say, you being from Arkansas and you one of the best dressed barbers, but you've been in Dallas for a while. So I'm gonna take it that the way you dress is like Oak Cliff swag. You didn't get that from Arkansas.
No, I didn't get it from Oak Cliff. I got it from just traveling. And the people that I'm around, I just pick up their style. Then when they go shopping, I just go in shopping with them. So, I just picked up my style just being around. My mom always told me to be nice and neat. No matter if I had $3 pair of jeans or $300 pair of jeans, just make sure you presentable once you're getting out, because you represent yourself. You don't want to look a mess. And before anybody deals with you, they gonna look at you and sum you up by your appearance before they talk to you, see how much you educated or anything. So I just always try to look my best, man, and to just, be a part of it.
Because appearance is so important. Appearance either gets you stopped at the door or it gets you in the door. And I've seen this happen on several different occasions. Young cats coming to the barbershop, got their pants down, showing their underwear, and you say, hey man, you can't come in my establishment like that. Right. They say, okay, Mr. Pedro. They pull their pants up, and if you want your hair cut, then come in here and at least look the way I want you to look, or look presentable, because that's what you need. So you're not just cutting hair, but you also teaching a lesson.
And now that you mentioned the teaching a lesson, I actually want to get a nonprofit group started and to help kids cut hair. In barber school, they just teach you to go to school, get your hours, go work for somebody. They don't teach you how to be an entrepreneur. They don't teach you how to have discipline. They don't teach you how to manage your money. They don't teach you how to invest your money to create your business. They don't teach you nothing like that. So I'm praying that that's going to be my next venture, to just create a nonprofit group and just get different people around me, man, to support my dream, and then just reach back and, help the other kids, that's trying to get to my shoes and do the same thing I'm doing.
Yeah, well, that's what we're here for. That's why I want you to man up with me. I can man up with you, man up with dadsandfathers.tv, and let us all come together to build those resources to reach back and teach young people, gather young people up, teach them something other than what they see on TV, and it's just false.
Right.
Instead, we can teach them some reality that they can put their hands on, they can build their life with. Now all of a sudden they got the resources that they can have a family, they can live in peace, they can be happy, they can develop their purpose and turn it into their passion, so that they not just working. So it's real important that we get together as men. But we want to have some closing remarks, so I want you to give some closing remarks, say hi to your family or your people, and then just take us on home. Pedro Foreman.
Pedro Foreman, man, I've been through a lot, and I thank God that I'm here, and I'm blessed to be here. And I've been through a lot, and it takes prayer, faith, dedication, and discipline. But you have to have hard work and stay focused on your end goal to get to what you want to get to.
That's my man Pedro Foreman on dadsandfathers.tv, joining up with Man Up with Mark T. We're going to change the world, y'all. Remember, the oak tree was once an acorn. See, I'm going to get that right this time. But you got to plant your dreams. You got to plant your dreams. You got to water them. You got to nurture them. You got to tend to them. And one day, then those dreams are going to be that oak tree that you can be proud of. So never give up on your dream, no matter how hard it gets. One thing about Pedro's story is he talked about times when it was hard. He talked about times when he wanted to quit. Everybody has those times. Everybody starts somewhere, but it's not where it starts, it's where you finish. And it's the process that you really learn who you are. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things get worse that you must not quit. Thank you for joining in with me. This is your man Mark T on dadsandfathers.tv, the voice of victory. Remember, it's not just a talk show, it's a movement. God bless you, peace, and a long life.
Men, business owners, if you're anything like my clients, you hand a bag of receipts to your accountant at the end of the year and expect them to do your taxes. Stop. It's costing you more in IRS taxes. McDaniel Consulting adds all of your year-end receipts. Categorize them in a way that your accountant appreciates. The better it's categorized, the more write-offs you get. We categorize all your business expenses, travel, employees, donations, rental property expenses, child support expenses, medical payments, security pet expenses. Compute your mileage. We issue W-2s and 1099s to your employees and contractors, as well as gather W-4s and W-9s. You give us this, McDaniel Consulting gives you back a professional report that your CPA can use. Call today, 214-349-6564. 214-349-6564. Your accountant does your business taxes. We do the preparation. McDaniel Consulting, 214-349-6564.